It should be going live soon.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, we sound
Good
sad
morning.
this morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
According to the controls, it's live streaming. Randy.
I looked, I couldn't find it. I'll keep checking.
Because right now it's telling me, do I want to stop live streaming? It's live
I see
streaming.
it. I see it on the Zoom link that it says recording and live on YouTube, but I'm not finding it on YouTube.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I got it.
It's there?
Yes, got it.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back. Today's Thursday, December 9th, and it's our general membership meeting. We're going to start off by having roll call this morning, and then after the roll call is taken, whoever's not present, still please fill out the attendance sheet in the chat. Okay, so we're going to start with District 1. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Okay. District 2. District 3.
Here.
District 4, District 5,
Here.
good morning. District 6,
Morning, here.
good morning. District 7,
Present.
good morning.
Good morning.
District 8, District 9, District 10, District 11, District 12, District 13, District 14, District 15,
Present.
good morning. District 16, District 17, District 18, District 19. Okay, District 2 is here. Good morning, Leonard.
Good morning.
District 20, District 21,
Yeah.
good morning. District 22,
Good morning.
good morning. District 23,
Good morning.
good morning. District 24,
Good morning.
good morning. District 25,
Present. Good morning.
good morning. District 26, okay. District 27,
Good morning.
good morning. District 28,
Good morning. Present.
good morning. District 29,
Present. Good morning.
good morning. District 30, District 31, I don't expect anybody. District
Shirley.
32, yes?
President Shirley, District 31 has a President's Council. It's just she hasn't received an email, an invite. So I can give you the
Well, we haven't received a certification form from Faith. They need to send it in so we know that they're a member.
okay.
All right, thank you, Selena.
Okay.
Jazzy is here. Good morning. District 75.
Good morning here.
Good morning. Brooklyn High Schools.
Good morning.
Good morning. Bronx High School.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Manhattan High School.
Hi again.
Good morning. Queens High School, that's me. And we know Selena, Staten Island High School.
Present.
Thank you. Good morning again.
Good morning.
I'm going to share my screen. Again, the attendance sheet will be in the chat. Please fill it out. And welcome back, everybody. We have a very robust and productive meeting today. It's a full load. We are ready to say today was December 9th. We are familiar with our board members. And we're going to have our parliamentarian, Ms. Plazier, is going to read the Cpac meeting procedures and standing rules.
Good morning, Cpac, and to our guests, welcome. Our Cpac meeting procedures and standing rules. To ensure that our Cpac meetings are ran smoothly, fairly, and as well as being in compliance with our Cpac bylaws, we ask that you respect the following procedures and adaptations. Please do not speak until you are recognized by the chairperson, who will be assisted in managing the meeting by a parliamentarian. Please limit your comments and questions to 2 minutes so that we ensure the maximum participation by the greatest number of representatives. The parliamentarian will be monitoring the time allotted. Remember that the order of speakers for our bylaws is A, the executive board, B, our voting members, C, the non-voting members, if there is time and they are recognized by the co-chairs and assisted by the parliamentarian. We want to make sure that we hear from as many people as possible during the course of the meeting. Therefore, there will be times when we do not call on someone who has just spoken. Please understand, this is an attempt at fairness. All voting members have first sitting preference at the table when we are in person and virtually directly on Zoom. Membership must be clearly identified by displaying the membership identification plaque when in person, and now virtually on Zoom, we ask that you add your district number by renaming yourself under Zoom participants listing. That would reflect the district that you represent. Please note that if the president of the President's Council is not present at the table and on Zoom, the designee is the voted representative for that district and is able to vote on matters of the membership. Alternates must have written notice from the President's Council's president or designee or an email sent directly to Cpac at info.cpacnyc@gmail.com, indicating that they have the privilege to speak and or vote on behalf of their district. For the purpose of voting on any Cpac business, only the voting member or designee of your district who is eligible to vote shall be seated at the table and will be virtually directly on the Zoom platform. For additional information on meeting rules and procedures, please refer to Cpac's bylaws, which is also available upon request, or you can obtain a copy on the website at www.cpacnyc.com. And also Robert's Rule of Order, newly revised, the RNR for short, is the parliamentary authority used to govern unless it's inconsistent with Cpac's bylaws.
Thank you, Marie.
Melvin? Yes.
So we went over this last month. Just keep in mind the do's and don'ts, and we'll be making sure we're following meeting norms. So as we said earlier, we have a full pack. We're going to have our Cpac business, which includes reviewing the minutes and proposed bylaw changes. We have New York City Council Mark Traeger is going to be present with us. Sarah Kleinhender from admissions. We're going to have our Chancellor Porter here. We're going to have our Executive Director from FACE with FACE Updates, Sadie Campomore. And then we're going to have our Brilliant NYC engagement. So at this time, take a few minutes to review the minutes that were set ahead of time. So any questions, concerns in regards to the minutes? Ms. Cody, you have your hands up. Dr. Cody?
Yes, I can barely see the minutes and I don't remember receiving them. I really apologize. I was looking for them. Is there any way you can make this larger?
Okay, I will try. Hold on a second.
Or if somebody can forward to me real quick. I'm basically a quick reader.
Oh. That's for later. That's for later.
Can you forward or put the link in the chat?
I can ask somebody to forward it to you. I cannot do that at this time.
All right, thanks. And if I have any updates, I'll just email it.
Okay, barring any objections, can we adopt the minutes as written? Any objections to Miss Francis? Francis, you D25, you have your hands up?
I wasn't at the meeting, but I see there's no time that it adjourned. I don't know if that needs to be in there.
Okay, thank you. Barring that, any others? Any objections to adopting the written as written? Okay, so we have adopted our minutes for November. You know, we want to party early. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and I'm going to have our parliamentarian, Ms. Plaisir, will share her screen, and we're going to jump right into the proposed bylaws changes. Marie?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just a sec.
As she's doing that, please, those who are present, if you have not done so, please put your district or borough that you represent in front of your name, and the attendance sheet is being periodically put into the chat to be filled out. Thank you.
Okay. Seem to be having issue clearing this up. Hold on.
Wild. So I'm just gonna, when we do the Brilliant NYC, we will break out into 2 breakout rooms to do the engagement. You're all probably familiar if you have participated in the Brilliant NYC per district. We're going to do it here at the Cpac. While Marie is getting her things together.
Okay. Here we are, enabling editing, and I will start sharing now. Okay. Hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Madam Chair Albin, go ahead.
Okay, so the proposed bylaws minutes. So the first one is adding a live stream coordinator and adding it to be an appointed position. The term live stream coordinator refers to an individual appointed by the co-chairs assigned for monitoring the live stream for the agenda related questions from the general public when acknowledged by the co-chairs assisted by the parliamentarian. The term appointed refers to an individual assigned officially by agreement or decree, not elected, for a position, responsibility, and or title as established in the bylaws. No term limits apply. So I'm going to read the rationale. Although CPAC representation is subject only to members who are elected to represent their districts and bring forth concerned issues in their respective districts, the privilege to speak primarily is duly to its members, as stated in the Cpac bylaws on Article 10, Rules of Conduct and Parliamentary Procedures, Section 1, Speaking Time. It is Cpac's intent to allow voices from the general public to be heard. Therefore, in order to adjust to the virtual access, appointing a live stream coordinator to monitor questions related to the agenda items that can be elevated to the attention of the chair, assisted by the parliamentarian will help with the live stream questions. So anyone have any questions, concerns?
Hold on, Madam Chair. For purpose of clarity, as stated here, currently there is no wording into the bylaws. That's why the first column reflect that there is none. And then the second column will reflect what is being proposed to being amended into the bylaws. And if adopted on the third column would be what it would be read as. And of course, you just mentioned the rationale. So it's very important that they do know that there is no current wording into the bylaws for such proposed amendment.
Thank you. Do you would like me to read the proposed amendment? And if it's adopted, how it will be read? I'm just going to do that. The term live stream coordinator refers to an individual appointed by the co-chairs assigned to monitoring the live stream for agenda-related questions from the general public when acknowledged by the co-chairs and assisted by the parliamentarian. The term live stream coordinator refers to an individual appointed by the co-chairs assigned to the monitoring the live stream online for agenda-related questions from the general public when acknowledged by the co-chairs and assisted by the parliamentarian. I see that Dr. Cody, you have your hands up.
Yes, I apologize. Thank you all. I received the minutes from quite a few people. I'm sorry. Thank you. So I have a huge objection because the citywide leadership team was never voted on, for the record. If you're going to leave that in the minutes, then you must produce the minutes that show when it was voted on, because it was never presented to this body. And putting incorrect information in the minutes is a violation of every law I can imagine. There was never a vote on a citywide leadership team. And if there were, show the agenda, show the minutes. So I have a big objection with that. And
okay,
secondly,
I'm
as
sorry.
far as the bylaws are concerned that's being shown here, I don't remember seeing that either. Is it in the same email that it was sent to? Was it in the same email that the minutes were sent in?
It was sent twice in separate emails.
Because I don't see the, I saw this morning when Marie sent it, but I didn't see these prior to today. I didn't see these amendments.
Yes, it was sent on Monday and it was sent again last night.
Oh, it was sent on Monday?
Yes.
Because it's supposed to be sent 10 days prior to.
No, but we will discuss that later, but no, we're discussing the bylaws. And in regards to the vote happened, the second vote happened October 12th, 2020, and we have emails and the minutes and will be shared shortly.
Well,
Francis,
what vote are you talking about? I'm sorry.
You're out of order.
I'm sorry, what vote are you talking about?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
Then for the purpose of clarity, if you can ask the council member which reference, is it the bylaws? Because that was sent on November 30th. Just for an inquiry, please.
Okay, yes. So Dr. Cody, you were talking about the bylaws when it was sent?
Yeah, these amendments, when was it sent?
So Marie sent it November 30th. That's the answer to your question. And it was resent again last night.
All right.
And the second vote for the citywide leadership team took place October 12th, 2020. And then I'm going to repeat it again. The emails where you were notified about the vote we have, and the minutes for that working group meeting will be sent shortly to the membership. So Francis, you have your hands up.
I'm sorry, resend that email, please.
Please stop calling out. First warning. Francis, please, you have your hands. You have the floor.
Thank you. So the person that's going to be hired for this live stream coordinator, are they a parent? What are the requirements? I would think that all of us should be parents. I don't know who is this person going to be elected, since it's not something that we're voting on. That's one. I don't agree with the no term limits, because I feel like if we all have term limits, most of us do, this person can stay there, and it kind of decreases or doesn't encourage more parent involvement for people to be in those types of positions. That's what I'd like to say.
Okay, thank you, Francis. The parliamentarian is appointed position, which doesn't have term limits as well. This is appointed member, so it's not elected. So there's no term limits for non-elected positions. And since the co-chairs are...
Shirley, you muted yourself.
From each year, then it would be up to the co-chairs to appoint who they felt is the best candidate for this job or for that position.
Shirley, this is for the parliamentarian. I thought it was the live stream coordinator. Is it the same?
Live stream coordinator is the same similar role. It's just that the live stream coordinator will be on the live stream.
So we'll have two parliamentarians, one live stream and one on Zoom.
If you want to make that simplest, yes, but it's live stream coordinator. It's going to monitor the chat and the questions on Zoom, because our parliamentarian is here to help us parliamentarian here on the platform. Marie cannot be on two places at the same time. She shouldn't be. So we are proposing this new position so someone else is there to help assist on the live stream, whether we do it on YouTube or Facebook. We would like to have a live stream coordinator to help us with that. Do we have any other questions? I see Miss Miriam Beck. Miss Ellis, what district are you from?
Hello,
from
hello, good morning. I'm the designee for District 15.
You
And
mean
my
that you're the alternate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And my question is, being the alternate, are the alternate would be allowed to do this live stream help to the Cpac? Is that possible? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yes, because since you're not the regular designee, yes, but it would be up to the co-chairs to appoint who it is. But yes, if you asking if the alternate, it could be. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And please put your district in front of your name if you can. Otherwise, when I'm
Yes.
done, I'll put it for you. Thank you.
I'll try. I'll try, yes.
Miss Atterbury, Staten Island.
Yeah, good morning again. As far as the live coordinator, I can understand that because it is two platforms and we really need a second person to handle it. I also do not agree with there should be no term limits. Also, we're not talking about parliamentarian. I think that also should be a term limit also. So that's my say on that about it should be term limits. It shouldn't be, can be, because it doesn't give other parents a chance to be involved and a changeover. We have term limits to everything, so a term limit should apply. And also I'm not getting I sent out to what y'all call Cpac info. I think I'm right, my updated email for my my president council, and I'm not getting emails there. So I put it in my sign-in again. So I just hope that you can update it and send all future correspondence to that email number. Email address.
I got it. We understood.
Thank you. Okay.
We'll talk offline
Okay.
about the email address.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Uh-huh. Mr. Ben Green, District 13, you have your hands up?
Yeah. Just to clarify on some of this about term limits. If you really look at the parliamentarian and the live stream coordinator, their term is up pending on the co-chair's appointment. Each co-chair, every year, like Shirley said, every year we have an election for co-chairs. Their term limit, they are a term limit. And based on who gets into that seat as co-chairs or chair will determine if the parliamentarian or the live stream coordinator stays. It's the same as the mayor appointing the chancellor. The chancellor's at the calling of the mayor. So it could be a 1 year, it could be a 2 year. If they're doing a great job, then they deserve to stay going across to the new chair. So I hope we don't spend so much time on this term limit piece for them because it's based off the chairs appointing them. It's not that they are coming in there and they're going to be voted on or they're a voting member. They are based off the appointment and the pleasure of the co-chairs that are presently has been voted in.
Any further comments about this proposed amendment bylaw change? Or questions or concerns? Ms. Angela Torres, District 8.
Hi, good morning. Just to add to what Mr. Green just said, I just feel that if a person is doing a great job in that role, that they then should be allowed to continue. And I think that's the thought, right? Because these are very important positions. These are positions, both the parliamentarian and this new live stream coordinator position are positions that allow for the communication to be able to continue, right? And it's equally important on both the live stream platform as well as on this platform. And not only that, I think that it's also, we have to have a vote of confidence in who it is that we appoint in the positions of chair and co-chairs, that they are going to make sure that whoever is placed into those roles of, parliamentarian as well as the live stream coordinator are going to, do the best possible job, because that's what we're all here for making sure that we do a wonderful job in order to elevate issues for our children and for our families citywide.
Thank you very much, Angela. Cecilia, District 26.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. May I make a motion, or I am making a motion to put this position as it's stated here, but change the no term limits to term limits as everyone else.
We're going to hold off on that motion. And Dr. Cody, you have your hands up?
Yes, I agree with Cecilia. Thank you for that. So as it stands right now, Cpac is technically in violation of its bylaws because it is term limits. And I understand exactly what Ben said. So there's a way to go about that. And what I feel should be in the bylaws is that when an officer, a parliamentarian or a live stream coordinator wants to serve, or if the co-chairs want them to serve another term, then it should be at the agreement of the whole body. The whole body should agree. And I guess the majority of votes, it should go to a vote if the person that the Cpac executive board wants to remain on, it should go to a vote. Because just because the co-chairs or executive board may feel that the person is doing a great job, and they may be, that might not be of the entire body. So to keep it democratic and to keep it fair, leave in the term limits, which is 2 years, which is being violated right now, and also add in that if co-chairs wants to keep, or the Cpac executive board wants to keep appointed officers to continue, or want them to continue, then they should, the body should vote or have a
I'm
consensus.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to interrupt. Mark Traeger is here. It's 10 o'clock. We're going to table this, but I am going to clarify the parliamentarian is not subjected to term limits. It's only the elected officers. So let's clarify. So no one is in violation of the bylaws. So at this time, Marie, could you stop sharing? I'm going to have Randy, District 21, is going to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to introduce and welcome our next speaker, who has worked tirelessly to fight for and improve our New York City public schools. He believes our children's safety and education is a top priority, and he works with all stakeholders to make it a reality. We are sad to see him leave the New York City Council, but wish him the best of luck and success on his future endeavors. Without further ado, I turn the floor over to New York City Council member Mark Traeger, Chair of the Committee on Education.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Randy and to all the wonderful stakeholders here, parents, education advocates, folks from DOE, Cpac. This is very special for me, as those who know me. This is, yes, my final month in as chair of the Education Committee and member of the City Council, but not retiring from public life. Education is in my blood, proud product of District 21, Randy, and went on to Murrow High School, public high school, and a proud 3 degrees from Brooklyn College, CUNY. So public schools from pre-K to grad school, that's in my blood, and a educator at New District High School before running and serving now in the City Council. I just wanted to, first of all, again, thank everyone who's on the Zoom and those watching and those who are a part of this, because education requires a village. I know it sounds cliche, but it actually does. As a teacher, I became a better teacher when I had regular communication, feedback from parents, from my students, from my assistant principals, from my colleagues, from my principal, from my school community. I was a member of SLT. I was a member of my school's PD team. Not every council member knows what a depth of knowledge a DOK chart is, as far as instructional things and Danielson rubrics and so forth. And every single education decision, it was through a lens of being a product of the public schools and teaching in the public schools. So I carry that with me every day. And so I strongly, certainly encourage and thank everyone for continuing to show up, speak up, make sure that the voices of not just of your own children, but of all of our children continue to be heard and to be amplified, particularly those kids who historically voices have not always been heard in our school system. I just wanted to also tell folks I just wrapped up my final hearing as the education chair. And in my remarks at that hearing, I want to share with you here, I know this is also the final month for Chancellor Misha Ross Porter. And I want to, as I said at my hearing, I'm going to say here as well, I want to publicly acknowledge that she took on this role during an impossible time. This is a major task, major responsibility, the largest school system in the country, very complex system, so many moving parts, so many different stakeholders. And I could tell you that those who know me, I am not shy to speak my mind. I am not shy to, call it the way I see it. But Chancellor Porter has always been incredibly accessible to my office, to me, responsive, listens to, a variety of opinions and ultimately makes a decision. But I have found her to be incredibly collaborative, accessible, responsive. She gets it. She is a lifelong educator. And I really do appreciate the enormity of the responsibility she took on. And not every decision is popular. There are areas where I didn't agree, but I always knew where she stood. And I want to just publicly thank her for her incredible leadership during very challenging circumstances. And I wish her certainly continued success and her team. I want to also just say, as far as where I think the system is and some certain next steps, I always want to make sure that we center the voices and the needs of children who really need the most critical support and help. Some of you might have were aware of a recent hearing I had where it has been a challenge for the DOE to start up the recovery programs in all schools, the academic recovery programs, particularly for children who, with IEPs, who, because of the pandemic, were not able to get services during the last school year, and they have to make up for it in this school year. It's been a challenge with Saturday programs, after school hours, because of a staffing issue that is plaguing the school system, both in terms of trying to get additional staff, but also the processing of applications to get staff. That is something that, if you ask me, that is one of the more immediate things we have to contend and deal with, because we still have students in our school system today that are still without paraprofessionals, who are still in need of services, both during school, after school, weekend hours. This to me is non-negotiable. It's a non-starter. This has to happen. We still have school bus companies that are routinely late to picking up our kids, missing stops, not communicating regularly with parents and families. Sometimes there are staffing issues in terms of the company, or in terms of paras or a nurse on the bus for our medically fragile kids. And if one person doesn't show up, the child does not get a service. And I don't have to tell parents what happens if a child misses a school day or comes very late to school, particularly in District 75, where this almost happens on a routine basis, which is detrimental to the instruction and the well-being of our kids. So we're actually in a very unique moment, because New York City is in receipt of substantial resources. New York City is in receipt of substantial federal, I'm sorry, there's an echo. They're in receipt of substantial federal resources, some more resources from Albany. These resources are not permanent. They should be permanent. We should have a sustained big investment in our public school system. So we have to be really smart about this. But some things that I'm very cognizant of, folks, and I have to say it here, is many of our educators, school leaders, school staff, they're also burned out. That is something I worry about. I worry about also the mental health, well-being of our kids and students. That's why we fought in the city council so hard with the DOE to get hundreds of new social workers hired. There should be now in every school at least one licensed social worker. If not, they should be in the process of hiring and finding one, because there's now money for every public school across every zip code, across every borough, to have a social worker. Now we're at a point where we also, thanks to Chancellor Porter and the City Council, we were able to get every school 100% fair student funding, which is the first time in history. That's never happened. Let me repeat, for the first time in history, our schools are actually getting 100% of what they have been owed. And I'll still argue that they need, in my opinion, even more support, because this formula of fair student funding, one of the items that I do wish the next council, the next administration to tackle, the formula needs to be even more equitable. This formula was adopted by the last administration, but I want folks to know that every school should now have resources to hire additional teachers, should hire additional paras, social workers, counselors, to take our kids on trips and so forth. Of course, being mindful that we're still in a pandemic and following all the safety protocols. Every school, we put in money for the first time, $6 million, that every single high school should now have access to a PSAL program. That wasn't the case. Many of our students, particularly Black and brown kids, do not have access to a PSAL program. That was unconscionable to me. I taught at New Utrecht High School in Brooklyn, where I saw firsthand what a sports program means for students, how the coaches became mentors to my kids. I taught history, and a football coach would come to see me, Mr. Traeger, how is this student doing? Make sure he's doing homework and so forth, right? At John Dewey High School, which I'm very proud of, we just put in $3 million to build the girls soccer team a brand new field. The Lady Dragons at Dewey are doing fantastic. They deserve a 21st century beautiful field. So I believe in the after school programs, whether it's sports, the arts, extracurricular activities. This to me, if you ask me, the commonality between art, sports, extracurricular, these are connections for our kids. In many cases, this is what keeps kids in school, increases attendance, and improves academic outcomes. Last thing I'll say, I'm a big believer, huge believer in our community school program. Every single public school in New York City should be a community school. Every single school should be a community school. We have to meet kids where they're at. We have to truly address the whole needs of the whole child. We have kids coming in our school system who are battling food insecurity, battling housing issues. In my district, I have some public housing buildings where NYCHA fails to provide adequate heat and hot water in the coldest days. And we expect our kids to be able to do homework that night. You can't divorce that reality. That comes into the school day the next day. And so we need to, really build out our community school program where every school provides the wraparound services integrated during the course of the school day. And I would go a step further. The last point I'll make, we need to really overhaul our adult education programs. And how is that relevant to your kids? Because when we empower parents, when we empower communities, when we empower folks, particularly in the moment that they're in, where employment also is an issue for many people, we help kids. I fund a program in Coney Island where we provide services for adults who need help if they don't have what's called a task, or used to be called a GED. But even if they don't need a GED or a task, if they want to learn how to read better, write better, build up their capacity, their skills, we fund a program where we provide adults free classes, free technology, dinner, free childcare, and that has made a tremendous difference. Particularly for communities where parents sometimes work multiple jobs to make ends meet, and they don't have time during the course of the day, but we build a flexible schedule for them during the evenings or weekend time to meet them where they're at. The program has paid dividends for them. And one mom who I spoke with, who is trying to build up her literacy skills so she can better understand her child's IEP, to be that much more of a stronger advocate for her child. That to me is a powerful goal. That to me makes communities better and stronger and more informed. More informed parents, more informed communities equals, in my opinion, stronger schools and stronger outcomes. So I'm looking at the system through not just pre-K, 3K, early childhood, but even into adult years to make sure that, again, we're meeting the needs of the whole child and their family. So I'm going to pause and stop here to say thank you, all of you, for your feedback, for your testimony for fighting for our kids, particularly the kids who have been marginalized, our kids with IEPs, our multilingual learners, students in temporary housing. All of those cases I've been able to amplify have been through the advocacy testimony from parents, families, advocates all these years, and I will never, ever stop fighting for these kids in our community. So thank you all so much, and stay tuned. There will be more Traeger. I am not, public schools are in my blood, so I truly appreciate all of you. Thank you for making the time today.
Thank you so much, New York City Councilman Mark Traeger. We're going to allow District 2, Leonard, to ask his questions. He has his hand up for the longest. And everybody else, he's going to be the only question at this time.
Oh, I feel honored.
Yeah. And then admissions will be next. They're up for 10:15.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for your comments and also acknowledging that we are still in the midst of a crisis. I've been hearing also from a number of parents, one of the things I was going to mention later on is the possibility about extending pass-fail grades, that option due to the hardships that parents are currently experiencing. I think that's something that we should consider a Cpac. And last, I just wanted to throw out a shout out as another Edward R. Murrow graduate to you. So thank you. We're all over the place, and I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. And we are still in a pandemic. I'm very mindful of that. I know DOE knows that I remind them of that as well. We have to make sure that all of our schools have all of the supplies, information. And I will say this, again, those who know me, I speak my mind. I'm very passionate about that. The DOE has some dedicated folks to try to get resources, supplies out. My criticism of things, I keep it real, is that sometimes I wish other agencies did a better job of communicating, coordinating, and working with DOE. I can give you a whole list of cases where the DOE was kind of actually working on a case, but other agencies had to play catch up. And in a pandemic, you need instant collaboration. But yes, Mr. Silverman, you are correct that we're still very much in a crisis. We have to get through this together. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to have Sarah Kleinhender from admissions. You have the floor, ma'am.
Hi, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here again. I do have some admissions updates, and I'll start with kindergarten. So our kindergarten application opened yesterday, and it is open through January 18th. Families can apply online, over the phone, or in person at a family welcome center. And we're excited to have the application open. In terms of, I'm going to jump to our specialized high school test. The specialized high school test was given at all middle schools on December 2nd. The majority of 8th graders who requested for testing took the test on December 2nd. We did have a weekend date last weekend, and we have 2 weekend dates this weekend for makeups, for youngsters who are in charter and non-public schools, for youngsters who have been in quarantine. There are ample opportunities to make up that test. So we're excited that the bulk of our students have tested in December 2nd. For middle and high school, I know that families are anxiously awaiting what the middle and high school application process will look like. We are still in conversation about that, and timelines have not been formalized yet, but as soon as they are formalized, I can come back and I certainly can have a conversation about what middle and high school admissions will look like. The same with removing high school borough and zones. We are reviewing that policy, and once we have a firm decision on that, I'm happy to come back to this group and have a robust conversation about it. And of course, our 3K and pre-K application opens a little bit later in the winter. And that's where we are in terms of high school, in terms of admissions, 3K through 12. Those are the updates that I have to share.
Thank you. So anyone who have questions in regarding admissions for Ms. Kleinhender, who's from the Office of Student and Enrollment. I see, Jessica, you have your hands.
Sure. Thank you so much for the update. I know as an middle school admissions, we're still waiting, but you need a code to be able to look at the schools. And so I don't know if there's a way for us to be able to still look at middle schools in our area without a code, unless I use the Find My School app. So, part of the DOE website. So the middle school admissions, like we received the letter, and then
Yes.
you need a code to be able to look at the schools. But that defeats the purpose of being able to be prepared for whenever the application process is actually open.
So we are going to be sending some welcome letters to families who are applying to middle school next week, which will show you how to create a My Schools account, which is the platform that that families use to apply. You can also go on the DOE homepage to the enrollment section, and you can see the directory.
District 12, I'm sorry, District 12, Doris?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm sorry, I kind of half heard. I was on a DLT meeting and you guys at the same time. So we do not have any deadlines for the high school applications as of yet?
Not as of yet, no, we do not.
Because most schools right now, I don't know, I know my school for one is doing, they actually did assign kind of a deadline, but I guess it's more to motivate the parents to do something. So we are permitted to submit them anyway, or is it not open at all yet?
The application for high school is not open yet. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I don't know what deadline a school was giving, but our central application for high school has not opened yet.
Okay, thank you. Ok, so yo no entiendo qué es lo que ellos están haciendo. Sí.
Please mute yourself if you're not
I'm so
speaking.
sorry.
Not a problem. What time is it? Any more questions for Ms. Kleinhender? No. Is Mark Traeger still here? Randy, because I can't see. Okay, we have Celia from Brooklyn High Schools. You have your hands up?
Yeah, my question was for Ms. Kleinhandler, though.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. She's still here.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
So I did want to know when, as a high school parent, when the application is going to be open for high schools, and if there has been a marked difference, because I know more or less just before COVID, the admissions process changed for high schools. So are there more students happy with getting a match, or are more students not necessarily getting the match as they seek? And are they still using those wait lists?
So we do not have a date yet for when the high school application will open or close. I'm hoping that we will have direction on that very, very soon. The wait lists for high school and middle school are closed. They have been closed for some time, so schools are not using their wait lists. And, I would say in terms of families receiving their top choices, we are in the same percentages that we have been for past years in the high 80s. We have is the percentage of families receiving their top 3 choices for high school.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions for Ms. Kleinhender? I know someone asked to put you in the chat, put your email in the chat.
I will do that right now. Yes.
Thank you. So if there's no any other questions for Ms. Kleinhender, we're going to have our face updates. Sadie? our Executive Director of FACE, Sadie
Hello?
Campo Amor.
Hang on, sorry. Hello?
We can hear you.
Is it
Hello.
me? Is it my turn? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
So nice to see everybody. Welcome to you all. Welcome to us. Happy December. Deep breath. It's been a while. It's been quite the year. I wanted to, of course, say thank you to the Cpac board for the time, but also looking forward to working with you to making sure that we establish a really good cadence with meeting with the new leadership that was announced yesterday. Such an exciting time. We have a new chancellor that was announced last night, David Banks, as well as a new deputy chancellor of family engagement, which, you know, can only bring more attention, good things, good opportunities to platform for advocacy and leadership for families across the city. And that's certainly, you know, what brought me to the DOE, what brought me to this work. And so just want to get everybody hype. This is a real opportunity. Change is tough, but it's constant. And having a deputy chancellor with that title is going to be only, I think, hopefully only good things for you, for the parents across the city. So very excited about that. I wanted to just basically say two things today. The first, of course, is that next week we're going to be hosting trainings for PA, PTA members, as well as President's Council members on the changes to the regulations A660. So those, you know, they will go over the changes. You'll be able to ask questions. They will be in collaboration and even co-presented with Cpac members, the beloved Shirley and Randy. Just to summarize the changes really quickly, there'll be eligibility for membership in PAs. PTAs has been expanded to include parents attending a 3K or pre-K program offered by the school. So if you're in a school where my son goes to school, there's pre-K programs. Those parents will be able to, you know, be included in PTAs, PAs. President's Council and PAs and PTAs can be conducted in person, hybrid, or virtually in an ongoing basis, right? This was a promising practice of the pandemic, recognizing that holding things hybrid or holding things virtually, in many cases, increased access and opportunity for families to know what was going on and participate in their school communities. And we will continue to be making, you know, payments and check via check and electronic check, but also introducing and including the debit card, which of course is great news for being in 2021. So next week we're offering 3. I'm going to put them in the chat, but I'm going to also verbally share them with you guys. The name of the trainings workshops, we hope they're interactive with your help, will be called Understanding the Chancellor's Regulation A660 Revisions. And I'm going to put them in right here. Wait a second, let me just make sure I'm allowing everybody in. Allowing this on right here. So the first will be Tuesday, December 14th at 6 p.m., followed by Wednesday, December 15th at 10 a.m. And then Thursday, December 16th at 6 p.m. We thought, you know, making sure that we were offering a range of dates, times, and also languages would be most important. So those can be found on chat. I don't know if somebody can also add them into the chat via the live stream, but if not, we'll make sure that they get to you. I did try to send them out to all Cpac members, but we'll do what I can to get it to you. If not, and I'll put my email in the chat just in case they didn't get to you. Any questions or comments on that before I just talk quickly about the new regulation being introduced to the panel in December? Good. Fairly straightforward. The second is about the Equity Council and the regulation 210 that's being introduced at the Panel for Educational Policy meeting in December. This regulation came about basically because during the pandemic, and I'm sure not during the pandemic, but during the pandemic when we saw so many different participants log into different parent meetings, which was mostly amazing, right? CEC's meetings that were often, you know, maybe 11 people, maybe 30. We're seeing hundreds of folks log in to get information. And so that was a powerful thing. But we also noticed the way we were treating one another, right? And that's always really important. Conflict is a part of being human, but how we utilize it to be generative and to be supportive and to create warm and welcoming environments is also mission critical. And so parent leaders from Cpac, from CECs across the city, and from the team FACE, the Family and Community Empowerment Office, under the leadership at the time of Deputy Chancellor Adrian Austin, met from, I would say, August 2020, for months and months and months to develop an actual regulation. In essence, to create something that would protect families. They're modeled after other regulations that we have that sort of uphold civil rights, whether it's from teachers to students or staff to staff. And so we use that to make sure that we could codify something for families. So again, in service of them being safe, feeling included, feeling welcomed. And when conflict arises, because it always does, it's totally natural, how can folks use it as a generative moment, as a moment to transform and to heal and to repair, not as a moment to devolve. So I hope that was helpful, and wanted to just make sure that folks were aware of it. I appreciate the time, and I'm open to taking your questions. Thanks so much.
Okay, we have Dr. Cody who has her hands up.
Yes, hi, good morning, Executive Director. Thank you for that, especially the new regulations 210. Cpac has been violating its bylaws and behaving in a very undemocratic manner. There's been private secret meetings. There's an officer serving their 5th consecutive term when the bylaws state 2 consecutive terms. Members are being kept from presenting and sharing information with fellow members and the public. Members are being marginalized, threatened, and bullied with the rules that are not in our bylaws. A letter was recently sent out to the public taking a position that was not approved by this membership. This is blatant abuse of power that includes humiliation in public, withholding information, gaslighting, and unwarranted threats towards members. There are schools without functioning PTAs, president's councils that are struggling, violence and weapons in schools, a very complicated admissions process from what I'm hearing, parents needing to be effective partners and cannot be viable partners with this leading parent organization plagued with corruption. According to Chancellor's Regulations A660, DOE has the authority to help clean this mess up by implementing a decision to resolve matters. Many of us here want to collaborate with one another and the DOE and get to work. We want to ensure that parents have the resources needed to effectively advocate for families we serve. Since it takes a village to raise a child, we need the village to be in good working order so that every public school student has access to equitable and excellent educational opportunities. How can we receive the help we need to put an end to these shenanigans so that we can hold DOE accountable
Dr.
and
Cody?
collectively?
Dr. Cody, I'm going to end this, your comment disparaging Cpac at this time.
How can we put an end to it, Sadie, please?
Okay, I would just like to make a comment. Jackie, it's not that we're not entertaining it because of this board, the last board. It has been voted on. ECC has sent a letter, they had voted on it. Cpac has voted on it. The minutes will be shared. It's not that there's not good ideas that you have. It's just that right now we have structures in place. And if those structures are not working well, it would be more important to focus on them and strengthen them than create something new. That's like saying that you have a PTA that's not working well. So a group of parents just decide that they're going to form a new PTA and just disregard yours. We want to strengthen what we already have in place and work with the DOE to just make it better. We're not disregarding anyone. We're not bullying anyone. We want to work together collaboratively with everyone. And if we have these ideas that we can share to strengthen the structures that are already in place, then we welcome all ideas. We don't wish to silence any voice. We're parents and we're here to address everyone's concerns and work with all constituencies, to work with all parent leaders. And if there are parents that are struggling, they can reach out to their president's councils. If president's councils are struggling, they can reach out to their FLCs. They can reach out to their FACE SBLs. There's structures in place to deal with this. But we don't want to create more meetings, more more structures that we don't really need. And we have trouble right now with DLTs with not everyone attending. So what would happen with CLTs at that point? So we're not trying to silence anyone's voice. We welcome everyone's suggestions, but we are Cpac, we're all Cpac. So to sit here and say how Cpac is doing, you're a part of Cpac. We want to just keep moving forward and just having everyone communicate together and collaborate together. So if we can all do that, and let's set CLT to the side and just focus on what we have now and keep moving forward with that. And then if that's not working, then if after you've given it, you know, I don't know what you're saying, Jackie. I'm just trying to say that there's no bullying that's going on here. We're just trying to work together and collaborate together. That's all we want is togetherness, and we want to focus on the issues so we can keep moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Anybody else has questions? For Sadie, not in response to Dr. Cody's comments, but to Sadie, District 20, Tamara Stern.
I think Selena was before me, so.
Go ahead, District 20. You have the floor, District 20.
Okay. Hi, good morning, Sadie. I have a question about will we be getting any more guidance when it comes to performances in the schools? Like, you know, when it comes to like, you know, like plays and dances and stuff like that.
Interesting. I mean, let me go back and make sure that I'm not going to misspeak. I'll come back to you on that. I know that actually Cpac and myself have worked on some other guidance around kind of like PTA events and outside. I think, you know, largely of course it's up to the school, but I know that there are many schools that are still not really letting a bunch of folks into the building, right, to prioritize the health and safety of our students and staff. So I imagine, especially with I just hate to say it. I think we all hate this, just the rise in cases, as well as this new variant, right? This is awful. We want to do the plays. I know I wanted to do the book fair. I had to send my kid in so he could shop for books on his own. I mean, it just, you know, it really does take a sort of a toll on all of us who want to participate in our school community. So acknowledging that. I'll get back to you if I missed something formal, but my understanding is that, you know, we are still limiting number of folks in the building. Of course, if it could be done social distanced, everyone masked, you know, I'm sure that is a possibility, but I'm not aware that schools are doing that just yet. So let me get back to you. Thanks, Tamara, for that important question.
Thank you. Staten Island, Ms. Atterbury.
Yes, thank you, Tamara, for seeing that. I did have my hand up for a while, and I that's another upsetting thing to me. I was waiting, and then I got pushed aside. So that's upsetting to me, trying to be part of a group that I'm newly into, and I felt marginalized at that moment right now. I wanted to ask Sadie particularly. Now, I had my question already, and I was put aside. I'm just so frustrated right now.
Selena.
Hi,
Selena.
Yeah, how you doing?
We'll go reset. Good morning.
Yeah, you said about order and following rules, and I wasn't because I had my hand up, and you pushed me aside. I was trying to. My son and Tamara Brunger. My son is a performing artist. So I was going to ask about, you know, more the arts coming back into the school, because one of the problems is that you cannot. I know people into sports because, you know, sports to high school and college is like the world. But I did want to know when they was going to be back the performing arts to the school and everything, so parents can be involved and mainly students, because they're not exercising, you know, what they came there for. They craft, you know, they gift. So I wanted to ask that question also, and I wanted to ask because I had missed, because I'm babysitting my grandnephew. I don't know how I get caught up to this babysitting job today. The beginning of what you said about the new deputy chancellor coming in. That's what I wanted to ask about, because I had missed that point. Did you announce it?
So I'm checking with the team in real time to see if I had missed anything around plays or performances. Again, last I've heard, of course, you know, with the space and with the opportunity. I think principals can make those decisions, but largely we're trying to limit gatherings so that we can make sure we keep our students and our staff in the building safe. But I'll get back to you if there are any updated guidance on that. I see that we have the chancellor here, so I want to be very short. The second thing was just that there was an announcement that, you know, David Banks is going to be the chancellor for under Mayor Eric Adams, and there was a deputy chancellor of family engagement also announced. So just sharing that with the group. It's public. It was in a New York Times article and all over. So just sharing that it was a great opportunity, and really always excited when we can see deputy chancellor followed by family anything, because that's what we're here for. I see we have Marisol as well as the chancellor here, so I'm going to cede my time. It's a pleasure, and I'm happy to stay on if you want to co-chairs if you want to, you know, get back to me with questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Sadie. We have quite a few hands that was up. So we'll continue back after the chancellor, and then we'll go back into Brilliant NYC. So with no further ado, Chancellor Misha Porter, you have stepped into a role while we're during this pandemic. And we want to say thank you for your service. Thank you to your service to the students and the families and the communities of New York City. You made the transition to going back in person as welcoming and inviting, and using the term homecoming, you know, welcoming back the students and the staff back into the building where they belong. Your service and dedication to New York City DOE, Department of Education, and to our students and families has been exceptional, and you'll be truly missed. We would like to wish you best wishes on your future endeavors, and we are confident no matter where you are in your new position, any else undertaking you may have, you will be successful and continue to shine and be a pride and joy of us all. And so no further ado, Chancellor Misha Porter, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Cpac. You know, it really has truly been an honor of my lifetime to serve as your chancellor and to serve during this time, the most critical time. You know, I shared yesterday, I got to go home to District 11 and do my last town hall there last night. And it was really hard for me to leave my school as principal and become a superintendent. It was hard to leave District 11 and take on the Bronx as the executive superintendent. I made so many relationships and just, you know, loved so many people. But it wasn't hard when I was asked to step up and be chancellor to take on this role, because I felt like there was an important thing for me to do. And it has been an honor and a privilege to do it. And so I've done my work and I am so proud. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for any of us. There were so many scenarios that we had to weigh as we made decisions about summer and made decisions to bring our babies back, but we did it. And so as I look back on my time as chancellor, I can truly say that New York City set the gold standard for health and safety with staff, students, and of course, parents' help and cooperation. We were able to ensure that we had the lowest positivity rates in our school this year. Our schools have served as neighborhood hubs of the COVID-19 response through in-school vaccination sites. We fed millions and millions of families and provided millions and millions of meals, all together, all in collaboration with our health experts, our families, our community leaders, and our employees here at the DOE. And so I'm so proud of what we've done, and I'm so proud of what we've done together, getting over 650,000 devices to students across the city. This wouldn't have been possible without your commitment to step up and lead as PA and PTA members in your school communities, but also to continue to always challenge us to do the very best. We created Summer Rising. We launched the bold, rigorous academic recovery plan, an academic framework that gets to know each and every student's academic and social emotional needs. The work that we're doing right now, preparing the foundation for our Mosaic curriculum, a universal curriculum that will reflect New York City's diverse students. We've heard how critically important this effort is to our students, families, and educators, and I'm committed to ensuring the important work of seeing our students in their materials and our learning materials continue. This is absolutely a shared opportunity for us to continue the momentum. a torch I know you'll carry on after I leave, and a torch I hope to be a part of in my new role. And after years of advocacy, discussion, town halls, and more, we began to reimagine an equitable way to deliver accelerated learning through the launch of Brilliant NYC. You'll hear more about this morning from our Senior Deputy Chancellor Marisol Rosales, who will continue to be a champion for this work. In essence, this is a new way to deliver accelerated learning to every child and dismantle segregated G&T classes. These efforts picked up over the last few months have been decades long, if not generational conversations, and we brought them to the forefront. Our conversations have centered on community feedback, brilliant NYC engagement opportunities are being offered in every single neighborhood in New York City. And we want to hear directly from parents, students, and most importantly, our educators all together who know the immense potential of every single student. So thank you. This would not have been possible without you, your partnership, our dialogue, your steadfast leadership and dedication to keeping our students safe, healthy, learning, and to getting to know their educational needs even better than before. It's been 10 months, but my friends, it's felt like 10 years. And despite the challenges we've endured them together. I'm committed to seeing the collective work and shared vision for our students, all of our students today and tomorrow. And I know in your hands, our school communities across the 5 boroughs will continue to be well served. I thank you so much. And I look forward to what you all will continue to do for New York City. And I too, from another seat in another space. So thank you so much. It has been a deep honor and a privilege.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Porter. Before I call on hands for those who have questions, I just wanted to say for Ms. Atterbury, I apologize if you feel that way, but we did just amend our bylaws stating that if you spoke already, we will call someone new who hasn't spoken before. And that's why you were skipped. And I came back to you after individuals who hasn't spoken to ask their questions to ensure that all of us be able to participate in this meeting. So I apologize that you feel marginalized, but according to our bylaws, we just passed them recently. New speakers will be called on first. And on that note, we're going to ask Rashida Brown Harris to ask the first question, and then it's going to be followed by District 15.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
You don't want to go no more, Rashida? You want us to come back to you? Okay, so District 15.
Thank you. Chancellor Porter, I just in the name, on behalf of District 15, on behalf of all the parents of New York City, I would like to say thank you for your service. And I would like to just take the moment to make sure that in all our districts, we have, going forward, we have representation and we have equity and we have everything going from PSL that you finally did it, PSL for brown and black children happening in all the schools. So going forward, I hope that this is going to be maintained with the new direction and the new everything you did, Chancellor Porter. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Shukran.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis. So now we're going to have District 2, Leonard Silverman.
Hi, Chancellor Porter. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here today. I mentioned this briefly with Councilmember Traeger in light of what's continuing in terms of hardships, particularly those with in the realm of social emotional learning and students with IEPs. Is there the possibility, or has it been discussed, the option for a pass-fail option at the end of the year? And if not, is it something that you could bring up with your successor before you leave? Because I have been hearing from parents who are very concerned that this is still, even though we're not remote, this is still a very different year from a normal year. And there's questions about, the IEPs and things like that and services. And they're asking me about that option. So I was wondering if you could address that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Leonard. And I'm happy to, bring up this conversation. We're working closely with the transition team. We want this transition to be smooth and just feel like a shift and not a huge lift. And we definitely recognize that, as I continue to travel to schools across the city, children are still struggling, right? We're still in a pandemic and our young people are still struggling and grappling with getting reacclimated to school. And so we did put out new grading guidance, revised grading guidance at the beginning of the year. I'll also follow up with Dr. Chen, our Chief Academic Officer, to have her revisit that and review that and really think specifically about how that applies to students with IEPs and what flexibilities we can have for our students out in the communities.
Now we're going to have Rashida Harris Brown from District 4. Brown Harris. Rashida?
Okay, can you hear me?
You see.
All right, thank you. Okay, Chancellor Porter, you will be on my list for forever on my list of inspiring women of color, women leaders. And I just thank you and continue to thank you for all of your leadership and all of your hard work and dedication. I want to reiterate the message. This is not a goodbye, because the work continues and you ain't going far, and we're going to do it, especially for the Bronx more than anything, but for all of our city. And I do actually represent District 4 East Harlem. I'm the president for the President's Council there, and it just wants to continue to elevate the Healing Center Schools Working Group and the Healing Ambassador Program that we collaborate with the Department of Ed, with the FCWC team, and how much it's growing. And how much we're hearing from school administration, actual principals and parent coordinators on the importance of bringing all of these healing center practices to our school, and really working with our healing ambassadors and collaborating with workshops and trainings for our parents, our school community members, and our staff. And just would love for you to continue to uplift the work. I know you know how important it is. And drive that message for your fellow colleagues and folks who will come after you, and just asking you to remember us, uplift the work and the messaging. Please don't forget about us, but want to thank you tremendously for all of the work that you've done in such a short time span, which definitely feels like 10 years. But thank you so much. And thank you, Shirley and Randy, and Cpac voting members, for allowing me to speak. We appreciate, we will miss you. We won't miss you much. We'll just miss you in this role at this capacity, but we know that we will continue to be in communication with you and keep this work going for all of our children and all of our community members citywide. So especially in the Bronx. But thank you so much. Thank you. That's all I want to say. Just continue to uplift the work of the healing ambassadors that the DOE launched. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rashida. So now we're going to have District 8, Angela Torres.
Hello, Chancellor Porter. I'm very glad to see you. And we thank you also for your work. My question is in regards to the fact that, as we've been talking about, we are still in a pandemic and the numbers are rising. We have a lot of parents that are concerned, and we have classroom closures that are going on all across the city. And some full, some partial. I can speak of, my own daughter's school that currently within the building, we have 7 partial classroom closures and 2 that are full classroom closures. And my question is, can we have a clear understanding of the Situation Room, and also how this decision is being made as to when a complete school closure actually occurs. And, because parents are asking these questions and they're wondering, and is there an in-between where after a certain amount of closures, class partial and full, that then, deeper cleanings are then happening? Because a lot of parents are concerned about having their kids go in under these circumstances. We thank you for all your work, and I'll give you time definitely to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So first of all, the cleaning process continues. Like, we haven't stopped. Our custodians continue to do that work. And we are definitely closely monitoring, the number of classroom closures that are happening. Not unexpected as the weather has changed, that folks would, normal, right? But pandemic different. People start to get sicker when the weather changes. So I would also like to just offer up here, Sadie, that we should absolutely bring the leadership from the Situation Room to really share how we make decisions, what's happening across the city, and give Cpac a full perspective. The good thing is that we haven't had significant building closures, and our work has been to keep as many buildings open as possible, but also ensuring that we're leaning into the health and safety requirements first and foremost. And so definitely we'll offer up the Situation Room to come talk to Cpac, especially, again, January is only going to get colder. And so I know that you would definitely benefit from hearing from them about how those decisions are made. And it is a deep partnership between the DOE and the Department of Health and Mental Health, the Department of Health. And so, we will continue to monitor very closely the deep cleanings. Families shouldn't have to worry about. And they should also just ask their principals if they have concerns about what's happening, or lift up to us if there are places that they're concerned aren't getting the attention and cleaning that they deserve.
Okay, so we're going to hear from District 28, Jessica Zillow, followed by Dr. Cody.
Thank you. I just want to thank the Chancellor so much for her advocacy and her work. I'm sort of with Rashida, where the last couple of years have seen like 20. But I am hearing and getting questions about after-school programs with the new mandate for the 5 to 11-year-olds. I think many families are waiting sort of to see for some more data. And so the push to have kids vaccinated from 5 to 11 is a little unnerving. But really, I'm hearing a lot about after-school programs, and I think families are worried that their kids won't be able to go to after-school programs if they've chosen to wait on vaccinating that age group.
We want to, I'll tell you, I hear you, Jessica. The heart of it really is about keeping our community safe and ensuring that, as many people are vaccinated as possible. I definitely understand the concern as a mama and, wanting to watch closely. And so we will continue to work and coordinate with families, just to ensure that we can provide the health and safety protocols that we need, but also provide access, which I think is really important, to after school and additional enrichment programming that all our students need and deserve.
Okay, now is Dr. Cody.
Chancellor, first Black female chancellor of the largest school district in the nation. Even though Manhattan High Schools never got that meeting we was promised, I am going to echo every single word that Rashida said. There's so much to say. I was running around trying to look for my my copy of Positive Community where you was in with the yellow. Oh, get down. It's just so much to share and say. And I'm really inspired by your leadership. And you're not getting rid of me because I know where to find you. I know where to find you. I just want to thank you for holding it down and showing us how you can take a position and make it look easy. We know it's not, but you did. You made it look easy. You never had a sweat. You're always looking dapper. You know, and I can go on and on and on. I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. And you'll do well wherever you go because you're one of the smartest women I know. So you do well.
Thank you, Dr. Cody.
Blessings.
And I'm going to look for your email.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Last call for the chancellor. Hold on. Ben is keep getting kicked off. We're going to wait to see if Ben has a question for the chancellor or a statement. And otherwise, if no one else does, we're going to go back to our lovely executive director, Sadie Kampor Amor.
Thank you so much. I actually,
Well, hold on a second. What's that?
Please.
Ben Green, District 13, you have any words for the chancellor, a question before we give the floor back to our FACE executive director?
Yeah, I want to thank you for your service. You're uplifting to all our parents and parent leaders, and hopefully in this, wherever you go, I know you're going to be a shining star, and hope you take some time out before you move on to your next endeavor to spend with your family during this time. That's it.
Thank you, Ben, and I will definitely do that. I need a nap. I'm going to hibernate.
You do that.
Any final words or thoughts, Chancellor Misha Porter?
I just many thanks to all of you. Thank you for your leadership. And, you know, I think the hardest part of being a parent leader, and it's what this group does so well, is not centering your own needs for your own child, your own children, but really centering a community's needs. And, you know, that's exactly what we need in New York City. That's what we need across the country, is our parents who are standing up and really being a community for all of the children that we serve. And so I am so appreciative of your partnership. I'm so appreciative of your support. I happen to know the new guy, but I know that Chancellor Banks will absolutely be looking to lean into parents and continuing to lift parent voice. And so you guys continue to do what you do, and do it with no holds barred, because you represent the most important people, and that's the families and students we serve. So I thank you and so appreciate all of the well wishes and encouraging words. It means the world to me.
Be you.
So Sadie, FACE Executive Director, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor, to all of the young ladies out there that identify as Black and brown. You can't be what you can't see. And you made that possible, even for someone like me. So I just wanted to say that publicly, that I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sadie, I know.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Sadie.
I'm being
I know.
quick. I'll be quick. I just got a question about the performances, and I got people an answer, so I'm going to put it in chat and just read it.
And then after that, Aisha, District 5, and I believe District 15
for questions.
For questions, correct.
Got it. So this was about Tamara. Tamara, am I saying your name right, or is it Tamara? Either way, I want to make sure that I was answering her. She was asking a great question about festivities, and I wanted to just make sure everyone had the guidance and heard it verbally for those who are tuning in. Students in grades 3K through 12 attending school or school-related activities in a DOE building are required to show proof of vaccination. What about, maybe I'm reading the wrong thing. For all events, for all events that the public may attend, it is recommended that schools seat families in groups at least 3 feet away from one another, limit capacity, and consider limiting tickets, right? So that it's not everyone. And then of course, ideally offer live stream to any performances possible. So it may happen, but again, space and safety is priority number one. And of course, I think just as a best practice, really norming with the SLT, is this something our community is comfortable with? You know, what are the intended consequences and maybe unintended consequences? So those are conversations that I recommend having. But that is the formal guidance. And I'm going to check on that one word in there talking about not related, because I actually thought that they were. So anyway, I'm going to hand it over. Oh, did you want to do, Shirley, did we want to do the other questions, or do we want to jump into Brilliant?
No, let's real quick before I ask questions. I want to give the chance to Aisha, and I think District 15, and then we have Maddie and Francis who has questions, and then we want to go into what time? We have time. We want to approve the 210, to adopt the 210. Okay, since they're not speaking, Maddie Gonzalez from District 24, you have the floor.
I do. Good morning. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yes, it is still morning. Good morning, everyone. I do have a question for Sadie. And the question is, I know that the verbiage that you just kind of posted in the chat said students in grades 3K through 12 attending school or school-related activities in a Dewey building are not required to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination. But for PA-PTA events, we've been told otherwise. So
For adults. I was just wanted to clarify that as well. It was like for students in grades 3K and pre-K. Yes, I was also reading that like, wait, what? Well, that's confusing. So adults must show proof of vaccination.
Okay, again,
Students in
language
3K,
is key.
pre-K, when they
Language
right,
is-
and it's there. I think I just read it quickly, so it's there again. That's the note. Students in grades 3K through 12 attending school-related activities. That is, you know, your son's brother or your child's sister, right? Like that is coming to an event to support a thing. I apologize for being unclear. That was really important that I
No,
was
no, it's
clear.
fine.
So,
I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to
yes,
clarify
and
myself.
super
So thank
important. And
you.
adults, all adults must show proof of vaccination. If you're holding a PTA meeting, again, safety protocols first, make some norms, and proof of vax. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next is going to be D25, Francis Gonzalez, and then District 10, Maria Villalobos.
Thank you, Shirley. Sadie, I have a question. Do we have that guidance in like written form so we can pass along to our PTAs?
Yes, because I'm reading it. So it is in written form. Let me see how I can get it to you, because I had to log in to see it. It's on our info hub. So let me make sure that it's more accessible for you guys. I also want to note that this week the mayor did make an announcement around young people getting vaccinated to enter indoor dining and performances, etc., starting in December 14th. And so that language we anticipate changing. So we're going to hang tight on that, but let me see what is, what is public and certainly what I can share with you. I did want to put it in writing.
So on that note, will they have a remote option for those that, if they do make that a mandate for school?
Remote option for students, that's a question for probably our new administration, and I don't want to get ahead of the agency.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now will be District 10, Maria Villalobos.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me the time, Shirley. My question is in regards of back in 2016, there was a PDF combined with the collection of all the acronyms and the jargons for NYC for the DOE. I know that we have a lot of new parent leaders now, especially in our District 2, and I'm pretty sure that is across the city. So has this been considered about updating this information to be able to share with everyone? Because some of us, we know what a DLT is, we know what Cpac is, but not everyone does. So we always have to be very careful about explaining and extending it. So acronyms is a really, we're to the time and everybody needs to know what is what. So I know it's a big ask, but then again, I haven't seen any updates since 2016. So I just wanted to request and
like a glossary or like a, something like that. Because DOE uses acronyms, maybe a little alphabet soup, just a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm just playing around. Yeah, we use a lot of it. It's very difficult to follow, and so I appreciate the question. let's think about that. I think that's again something that, perhaps FACE and Cpac can, issue something together. And I'm going to ask the team if that lives anywhere online so that I can at least direct folks to it, because a lot of them haven't changed. DLT hasn't changed in 2016. So let me make sure that that's more accessible, but I absolutely agree. I think we have some of that in our parent coordinator toolkit, acknowledging that parent coordinators get thrown into these jobs and a lot of alphabet soup gets thrown around. So let me look into that, but I really appreciate that suggestion. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so our last person who's going to ask a question or a comment to you, Sadie, is Mr. Ben Green, District 13.
Hi, Sadie.
Hey, Ben, good morning.
How you doing? My one question is because with this new mandate, and I think y'all covered it a little bit, but with the sports, I mean, this mandate is the kids after December the 14th have to be are going to have to get off these teams like basketball, cheerleading, and stuff like that, or is it they're going to give them testing until the new administration comes in and then they'll make a start? Because we've been getting letters, our parent, and they've been calling us all over in my district with letters that they received that said that their child has to get vaccinated by December 14th or they're not going to be able to come into the school.
No, we haven't made that announcement yet, and we actually do have our senior deputy chancellor who can step in if she knows something more, more up to date than me. I'm going to invite her, and so I'm accurate. But the announcement that the mayor made this week about mandated vaccinations for young people was for indoor dining, was for movie theaters, was for other venues, plays, Broadway shows, etc. We have not made the change or announcement for DOE schools. And I'm not sure if that I should say yet or what. So Marisol, do you know more, just so I'm accurate to families? Sorry to call you in, but here you are.
No, that's okay. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I think that the best thing we could do, Sadie, is to follow up with this group and invite the situation room to come in to just like really walk everybody through the different protocols and guidance.
Got it. And the chancellor asked for that as well. They got a question on that, so we will make sure that happens. Thank you guys. Yeah, and we'll keep you updated as soon as, if anything changes, we'll make sure that you hear that. We always put it in our end of week wrap up, which goes out on Fridays, but we have not had those announcements yet. The announcement made by the mayor, and I'll look to put it in the chat right now, was around other venues, other inside dining, movie theaters, other places to go inside. It still impacts us as parents, but it's not related to school buildings just yet. Thanks.
Thank you, Sadie. I'm going to ask you to jump in and introduce the next section for Brilliant NYC. I just when we put us in breakout rooms, just leave Marie leave Marie in the main room, and the rest of us will be divided into the 2 breakout rooms.
Okay, that is no problem. I will go back to that in a moment. And since you're the host, Shirley, I can't put you in a breakout room, so you'll have to just assign yourself. But hello, everybody, and welcome to the transition of Brilliant NYC. You may have heard about it. You've talked about it. We made sure that the chancellor has mentioned it a couple of times. We've had Marisol, our senior deputy chancellor, come and speak about it. But it was really important to us, and specifically to your exec board, right? Give credit where credit is due, to make sure that this group got a chance to be a part of the engagement. And so this team, this small but mighty team, has gone to every single physical district across the city, but has also met with our community roundtable, which includes advocates, may do some other smaller engagements with some organizations, and the city met with the citywide councils, the citywide education councils this week, who want to do something for their membership. So it was really important that they came here today to talk to you. This sounds new, but like the chancellor said, this has been ongoing discussions, whether it was school diversity advisory town halls that Marisol was a part of and I were a part of, to decades long, really important ways to talk about how do we address all learners and differentiate, and what is acceleration, and what is the purpose, and how do we do it well. So without further ado, it's my pleasure, my privilege to introduce our Senior Deputy Chancellor Marisol Rosales and her team, Jen and Billy and William, and my colleagues, Aisha, and I'm not sure if we have other folks from FACE on here, but to also be a part of this conversation and make sure that we're taking the right notes so you guys can give our feedback on, we can get your feedback on what is Brilliant NYC. With that, take it away.
Thank you, Sadie. I love the way you say transition, right? And so I think we could maybe spend a little time here together before we go into breakout groups. And I want to say thank you to this group always for your leadership, for the way in which you show up every single day as a volunteer, advocating on behalf of our children in our schools. So I just want to say thank you. And I walked in when you were acknowledging Chancellor Dr. Misha Porter and Dr. Cody. I heard you say that she made it look easy. And I think she made it look easy because she was always grounded and focused on making sure that all children were served, that all children were viewed as beautiful. And it's been incredible to have Dr. Porter to be my boss, to be my partner, and to be my friend. And I will certainly miss working with her. And I just wish her the very best because she is incredible. And she represents all of our young ladies across the city. And I do want to talk a little bit about Brilliant NYC. And I will ask William if he could share his screen. We have a small PowerPoint because this is such a great platform to come to you to share actually some of our learning through our community engagement. But I would like to begin with a quote, which is what I've done at every single engagement by our Chancellor Misha Porter. And William,
we have a share screen, but I have switched computers.
Hey, Shirley, I don't know. I can't make William Mark host. I know there's two Williams on it. Oh, you are. You're on it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, which William is it?
William Mark. It says face in front of his name.
Yeah, yes.
Face William Mark. Okay.
He's there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Williams today, so that's maybe why.
Perfect. Thank you, William. If you can just go to the quote by our Chancellor. I really want to ground us on this quote because Brilliant NYC really is about our collective belief about our children. And when you think about what it is that we're preparing our children for, we're preparing them to be the leaders of the world and to actually have to solve real worldwide problems, right? So this is a moment we must assume the responsibility to reimagine education altogether. And Brilliant NYC is about that. It's about the collective belief. It's about the expertise that already exists in the field. And the science to ensure that our children receive accelerated learning and opportunities. And we'll talk a little bit about accelerated learning today. Over my years, I've had the privilege to work side by side with incredible educators across the city. I've spent thousands of hours in classrooms, and I see and know the brilliance in every child. And I want to say here that they gift us their skills, their talents, as well as their cultures and their identities. And as an educator, as a Latina, as a woman of color, it is a privilege and such a responsibility to cultivate their abilities, right? And they could be various and they could be different. It could be science, it could be arts, it could be music, it could be writing, it could be sports. It could be anything. Right? It is our responsibility to identify them and to cultivate them. And I've also seen incredible practices and strategies and by teachers across our city that actually embrace the idea and give students their opportunities to grow their gifts and talents. And William, if you can go to the next slide, please. I am not seeing the next slide unless it's my computer.
Marisol, the slide is what is brilliant NYC. That's up right now.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm definitely having some technical difficulties on my end, but that is okay. So you have this slide in front of you. I want to say just a couple of things, right? Brilliant NYC is really a new approach to teaching and learning, right? An approach that is grounded in the fact that all children have the drive to learn and achieve at high levels. And this approach, we've done a ton of work on this, right? It actually draws from the successful aspects of gifted education and the research that's out there in terms of how the brain develops and learns. We know we can do this work right now because we've had seen what has happened in our 3K and our pre-K program. So we want to leverage those. And we have a responsibility to expand from a program that only admits 2,500 kindergarteners and really move it to a universal approach that is going to serve all of them, 65,000 of them. This plan absolutely moves us away from a deficit base, from sorting 4-year-olds to an asset base that doesn't rely on a single test. And I want to say that a single test is an educationally unsound and unfair basis for determining who should benefit from extra supports, resources, and attention. And our chancellor said this: isolating children in gifted and talented programs perpetuates racial segregation that exacerbates inequalities throughout the school system and our society at large. Something that we have heard is, but how will this happen, right? Like, how do you get to do this across all kindergarten classrooms? And we are going to do this by investing in training for our 4,000 kindergarten teachers, by providing the resources, the materials, the training that they need in their classrooms. A big part of this work is about the ability of teachers to differentiate instruction, right? Also, a key ingredient of gifted pedagogy is the belief that children can achieve at high levels, right? Brilliant NYC is an asset-based model, and I want you to think about that, asset-based model, right? Therefore, we know and believe that our children, as well as our educators, with the training, the support, will be able to accomplish this. Something that's been a myth is that this will impact students in gifted programs. Students who are currently enrolled in gifted programs will remain in their programs, will not experience a disruption at all. And if we can move to the next slide, I want to just talk a little bit about sort of like what our engagement has been so far. Because at the core of this, we needed to and wanted a new way of partnering with families. This approach has not been a one-way conversation. It's been the opposite. It's been experiencing an intimate setting with community members in a two-way conversation. We've received incredible, candid feedback on the blueprint. And we've had 3 different types of engagement so far. We went across all of our districts, all our 32 districts, and we personalized the experience based on the beautiful culture and identities of each district. When we drafted this blueprint, we knew we had a strong plan, but the input from school communities, your perspectives, your thoughts is making this an even stronger model. We had a panel of experts. We have partnered with incredible experts across the nation, from Dr. Renzulli Dr. Allison Rhoda, to Dr. Yvette Jackson, to really guide our work to ensure that we are adhering to the science and the research, because we believe that all children have the innate ability, for sure. That panel of expert was recorded and posted on the DOE website. I will ask William to actually paste that in the chat so that you have it. And we continue to engage with different community groups such as this one, right? Parent leaders, advocates, and the feedback has been incredible. The next slide shows the map. I can't see a slide, so I'm hoping that's where we are. But it shows that we've engaged with all our 32 districts. We've had conversations with approximately 3,500 families. 85% of families have felt heard, and they have shared incredible feedback around the blueprint. And I am actually going to invite Billy Joya, a member of Brilliant NYC, to just share a little bit of what we've heard. We are in the process of analyzing this data. We will come back to our groups, to our districts, to share the data analysis and to think about next steps. Billy?
Thank you, Marisol. And thank you everyone for inviting us here today. It's a pleasure. If we go to the next slide. William? So, okay, I'm not seeing the next slide. Maybe we should be on the blueprint slide right now. One of the things we did inside the engagement was we presented specifics about the blueprint for Brilliant New York City. And as Marisol shared, we are in the middle of crunching that data from the feedback from those sessions. And what preliminary analysis is showing is that the two components that resonated most with families was really seeing children for their strengths and rich learning environments. This may change as we move forward and continue to crunch more data. But there's the blueprint, great. But like I said, seeing children for their strengths and rich learning experiences really resonated the most. And just to encapsulate how seeing children for their strengths resonated with families is that one quote that we pulled out that really does capture the sentiment around this particular component is that a parent said, I want teachers to see my child like I see my child. And that really does speak to the idea of the shift that we're trying to make system-wide to an asset-based model for education. That we're able to see children for their strengths and that teachers have the tools to identify those strengths and nurture them over time. And then for rich learning experiences, there was one particular parent, this happened many times in many engagements across the city, where she talked about how much her son loved turtles. And if there was some kind of opportunity inside the classroom to do some outdoor learning and environmental learning, her son would be so motivated, you can't get him to stop talking about turtles. And that again speaks to that rich learning experience that teachers would develop lessons and units around student interests that provide multiple pathways for their learning, which ultimately is based on brain-based research for how the brain retains information by connecting to things already inside their brain. So those two really stuck out for families. As far as the other components of real world projects, we noticed that most families had the most secure understanding of what a real world project might look like in a classroom. And they spoke a lot to that. And there was also across districts in breakout rooms, there was an understanding, a common understanding of what a real world project looks like. So that provides a really good foundation for entry points for families. And then for opportunities for acceleration, what surfaced there was that there were so many different definitions of what acceleration means. People were entering the conversation from different places in terms of acceleration. And it really spoke to the fact that Brilliant New York City, when we talk about acceleration, we need that definition that grounds us all in the same idea of what acceleration is. And then finally, for individualized pathways, parents were very excited that an individualized pathway can be created for their child. Mostly they had questions though about how can a teacher serve all those different pathways inside of a classroom. So there is a need to be more concrete around how a teacher can do that, and to really talk about, number one, that a lot of teachers are already doing that. We already assess students' reading abilities, and those reading levels are addressed in the classroom. Not only that, but there's plenty of technology that also could be leveraged in terms of grouping students around similar pathways, providing, bringing more resources into the school through that technology, and allowing students to connect with the different pathways that they have through those resources that are brought in. So that's just a preliminary analysis of the data we see so far. And in a nutshell, that's what we're getting for the blueprint, and that will lead to changes to the blueprint, which I think Jen is going to talk to now. Jen, are you there?
Please unmute. You are
Yes, I
unmute,
hear
Jen.
you.
My apologies. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, is it
perfect.
just me?
Okay, perfect. So sorry, I was having some tech issues, but Billy came to the rescue and brought me to talk a little bit about the blueprint itself. And what I would say is that the blueprint was developed based on educational research, but for this to really come alive, we needed to really talk to our most important partners, our families, and to think about what those revisions look like alongside the experts in education. And so as we're thinking about revising the blueprint and making it more clear, I see a lot of comments in the chat about, is this for all children? And my background, I started teaching as a special educator. And so what I learned was that when we do these things for all children, we actually create access and opportunity for everyone. And we know that the research shows us that as well. And so how do we support our teachers in developing these models where they can do this for all students, starting with kindergarten? So William, if you want to just go to the slides with the different elements, we're going to talk a little bit about seeing children for their strengths. And so this really resonated a lot with families. I know I was in breakout rooms where people were crying, really saying, I want my child to be seen for the strengths I see them for the abilities I know they have. And what we know needs to come out in a revision is how important our parents are, our families are, in helping us discover the strengths that every child has and helping teachers really use that information to plan for instruction. So that's the important part, that we're really coaching teachers to look at their curriculum in a different way, enhancing what they're doing, and really building from strengths rather than a deficit model, which is the way a lot of our assessment really leads teachers to. Let's look at the needs and let's target those rather than building from a place of strength, building from a place of interest. And so the experts talk a lot about this. Dr. Renzulli, if you go in to look at the citywide panel, talks a lot about interest and how we really need to tap into those strengths, those interests for our students when we're designing instruction and inviting them in to the instructional experience. On the next piece around rich learning experiences, and William, I know, is going to flip to the next slide. I would say what we heard here And we talked a lot about the academics, but the academics is paired with social emotional learning, with really developing those skills that we know are so important for the 21st century. How do I collaborate with others? How do I work together? And we know our children, we're preparing them to be leaders who are going to solve global problems, who are going to take charge. And we see that in our schools already. And we want to make sure that we're cultivating that in all students. And so that's where families said, can we tie in the real world projects? That's not disconnected from the rich learning experiences. So in the revisions, based on the feedback from our families, we're really going to merge rich learning experiences with the real world projects in a way that makes sense and puts those things together in a more cohesive way. And this is really about giving kids the opportunity to solve problems in their local community, at their school, the world around them, and think creatively as they come up with solutions. And as a teacher, we're really coaching them through that and giving them the tools for that. In terms of accelerated learning, we got lots of questions on this because there's a couple different definitions of accelerated learning in education. And so traditionally in gifted education, it's about moving quicker through the curriculum. It's about more rapid pace, things like that. And what more recent research has really taught us is that accelerated learning, William, if you wouldn't mind just going to the accelerated learning slide. As well. It's really about ensuring that we're offering all children challenge. And within that challenge is either at grade level or for students who are already above grade level. And that as a teacher, I'm presenting that opportunity for children. I'm inviting them into their learning, and I'm building tools that help children lead their own learning. So those tools that help children persevere. What do I do when things get hard? How do I handle when I make a mistake? Because we know that learning is really rich when we make those mistakes. And when we think about opportunities for acceleration, that should be offered to everyone. And so within that, as a teacher, I'm thinking about where children are, the things they come to me knowing. So it's really connected to that idea of seeing children for their strengths. And then I'm building from there and supporting kids through scaffolds, careful scaffolding and support, so that all children can be have access to that level of acceleration and that challenge, because we know our brains really grow when we're challenged. The last piece is on individualized pathways. And so we had a lot of comments about this and questions. And we really want to hear from you on these as well. And that will be kind of where we're going around how do teachers do this, right? And really what we know is that everyone's learning is different. Kids have different strengths, they have different interests, and we need to be able in our classrooms to offer those individualized pathways. And so really thinking about how teachers do this, leveraging technology, leveraging resources, and really leveraging their knowledge of students, what they're interested in, to give them that opportunity to explore. So this could be done, like Billy mentioned, using technology. We know that some high schools already do this, where they have kids taking college courses that are online courses. And that's really one way to do it. But we can also do it by offering kids the opportunity to engage with dance if we see that they have a strength and interest there. And it's really about a whole child approach. So not just those academic areas, but those domains that are often not attended to as well as they should be, like the arts, theater, dance, physical education, and offering the supports as well as the opportunities there. So what we're going to do next is we want to hear from you, because this really is a different process. It's about co-designing. And so what we want to do is actually go into breakout rooms and have conversations where we would like to hear your suggestions for the revisions, hear any additional feedback you might have, and then also any questions that you might have regarding this approach and the research behind it and things like that. Marisol, before we do that, did you want to add anything else?
No, I think it'd be great if we go into breakout groups and be able to answer inquiries that many families have. I see the chat. There's a lot of around District 75, and so I love for us to just go into our groups.
Perfect. Sounds good.
With that, please stay tuned while I open these rooms.
Hey, Tracy. Tracy, do you want to go with
Hi,
Jen? I go with
Marisol.
Billy. Hi.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, you wanted to go with where Billy is?
I want to go where Billy is, and Tracy will go with Jen so that we offer support.
Okay, hold on.
I don't see Marie. I think Marie got switched out. Marie needs to come back.
She did. Can you get her out? Because I couldn't, once I assigned her, I couldn't get her out. Sorry, Tracy, you want to go with Billy?
Jen.
Yes.
No, with Jen.
With Jen. William, did you want to go to any place in particular? Okay, great. All right, so we're the only ones who are unassigned here. So let me just go into this room here. Oops. How do I jump into a room? Let's see.
Maybe I need to put you in. I'll stay out here since
somebody's got to do it.
You got you got faith. You have
Oh,
William
join.
is
Here
out
we go.
here.
I'm going to join.
Okay.
No,
so
that's William Mark. William Mark, I don't know where you want to go, but I'm going to room 2. Adios.
Okay. William, where you would like to go, William?
Mr. Mark, would you please unmute and let Chair Albin know where would you like to go, which breakout session?
I'm just going to assign him. I'm going to go to number 1.
Chair Albin, can you also specify the time in each breakout session? Do they have 10 minutes, 15 minutes before reconvening? Just want to point out the time now is 11:43 a.m.
Okay, I'm going to ask Sadie how long are the breakout rooms? They didn't state. Hold on. Okay, so the breakout rooms are for 16 minutes, Marie.
I see a timer of 11 minutes remaining on room 2.
So that's correct. So they're going to do 11 minutes remaining, and the rest of the 11, 5 for 5, and then 5 minutes to do a quick share from the breakout rooms.
Perfect for a share out. Just going to keep track of the time.
back to the meeting. Wait. Hi. Okay, I see everyone.
Hello.
Andrea, you were cut off, but I just want to say thank you for that. The D75 population and students with disabilities are very important. And so thank you for to bringing that to the forefront.
And also, may I have the floor, please?
Yes, let's wait for Sadie or Marisol to
Hello.
start back the conversation in the main room before
I
we
would
have our
love-
conversation.
Thank you. I would love to hear that comment because the topic around D75 did come up. I want everybody in here to know that Brilliant NYC is inclusive of all our children, and we will be working with all of our teachers, including our D75 teachers. So, I want everybody to know that. But I would love to hear from the parent who was making the comment, and then
that's
maybe
Lotus.
Sadie pass it on to you.
Bronx High School.
Actually, Madam Chair, I will yield my my time. I will go after her. I will yield my time to D75. She was the one who brought up the comment, and I want everyone to hear it.
Okay, so she doesn't have her hand up, but that's Andrea. Would you like to speak? Otherwise, Lourdes, you'll have the floor. Andrea?
All right, I'll speak briefly because I said part of it in the breakout room, but I was cut off because we came back. We ran out of time.
Okay.
So it was just in regards to the Brilliant NYC program that we're discussing about, and they mentioned districts 1 through 32. I heard nothing about District 75 or children with IEPs with disabilities, even in 1 through 32. And it just seemed like this program is similar to the Gifted and Talented program, but more expanded to expand more opportunity and seats for certain individuals that are considered gifted and talented. But yet I heard a few people say it's for all students, and I'm not really getting that feeling right about now. That's basically what I wanted to say. I want to let Lourdes or whoever else speak, so I'm gonna cut that short.
Thank you, Andrea. Lourdes?
So to the point of Andrea, and a few other council members that brought that point up, my question is, where is the new administration on board with this, that we continue to even entertain the conversation on this program? It is important and it is imperative that if it's going to be brilliant to all, that every student, including IEP students, D75, etc., are included on this on the system, or whatever it is that you're all working on, to make sure that it is actually inclusive and equitable.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate. Sorry, there's an echo. The comments that have been shared around the inclusivity for sure. Last week I was at a parent group, and Mr. Spencer was there. We are actually in the process of scheduling time with him and District 75 parent leaders and parents, so that we can actually get more feedback from families around Brilliant NYC. Brilliant NYC, the at the core of Brilliant NYC is the way we view children and the way in which we create learning experiences for all of them. That will rely heavily on our educators. And so our commitment is to make sure that we are training our educators so that they know how to identify the strengths, the abilities, to lift up the cultures, the identities of our children, and to build projects and personalized ways for each child to flourish while providing support that they need to flourish in other areas. Like that is at the core of Brilliant NYC. It's moving away from this special program for some children to what every child deserves across the city. And so like that is the commitment. It is the right thing to do for every single child in our system, in our city. And so we are committed to doing this because not only do we believe in our children, but we also believe in our educators. And we know that with the right supports, training, resources, we will be able to do this.
Before we hand the floor back to Sadie, who saved 5 minutes to summarize what happened during the breakout room, there's a question that a lot of parents across the city are asking. So after the G&T is phased out, those designated G&T schools like Ness and Anderson, what will happen to those schools?
So we are not phasing out citywide gifted and talented programs. We're not phasing out those programs. And in fact, those programs will not be interrupted by this.
We were told that there's not going to be additional students for G&T, so it will be phased out. So once the last set of students, they'll be graduating out. So this is something different.
Yeah, no, we're not phasing out gifted and talented programs, Shirley.
So we have G&T and the new Brilliant NYC. That's what we're going to have, two of them along with each other.
We are starting in September with our kindergarten students and training, beginning to train our first and second grade teachers on this. It's a new way of teaching, right?
No, I understand that. But once the last graduating class is gone for G&T, that's the phasing out. We're not ending the G&T, but you're not adding new students into those programs either. So it's going to eventually be phased out because the last set is going to be graduated out. The question is, they want to know what happens to those school buildings or those designated schools.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that question right now, but we're not phasing out our gifted and talented programs. We're not. So,
okay,
we're not. Yeah, we can definitely follow. I mean, that person can definitely reach out to me, but we're not phasing out gifted and talented programs. Okay.
Rashida, one more question, and I'm going to turn the floor to Sadie, District 4.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, just kind of sort of on the heels of exactly what you said, because the inquiries are all the same. It's hard for folks to for it to register. The idea of what we know G&T to be today is changing, but the support, the brilliance for all the just really look at it as G&T expanding for everyone. That's really what it is. Not that it's being phased out. It's being improved for all students citywide. Later on down the line for the exceptionally, advanced students who may have special gifts and talents in certain fields, right? Because kids aren't gifted and talented in all fields. They're not all gifted and talented in math, reading, ELA, PE, pianos, I don't know, technology, whatever. Specific fields down the line will start to all collaboratively, find special schools for them. But just overall, just the education level and accelerated, I'm doing air quotes, accelerated learning, it's just going to be a transformation, and it won't happen overnight. So during the transition, it will be folks, we can't please everyone, I'm somebody. I'm just thinking as a parent and as a community member and with all my other fellow parents and students along the line, which if full disclosure, I am in a citywide gifted and talented school. So I know exactly what works. I know exactly what needs to change. And I know what we need to do to help bring all of this to all of our students, regardless of any kind of standardized one high stake test, that the student takes. So, and that's the idea. And that's what we want to get into the discussions and understandings of. So thank you for allowing me to have a rebuttal, Shirley.
No problem, because this is a question that there's a lot of misconceptions with the G&T, and I want Senior Deputy Chancellor to clarify about the G&T and the phasing out, because people think that those schools, once they're not in use, is going to be closed. So Sadie, you have the floor.
Well, I'm mindful of the time. I know this meeting adjourns at 12:06. So what we were going to do originally was just hear from maybe 2 members or 2 facilitators from each group and do a quick share out. But I think we heard from family, from parent leaders, some of the things that we heard. This conversation doesn't need to end. Marisol just put her contact in chat. There's also a brilliant NYC at schools email that you can use if more ideas come up, and that you can also share with your community members that we can also put in chat so that we can continue the conversation. Again, this didn't start just a month. It feels like it was a hard and fast engagement, but it didn't. These conversations, have gone on for decades, and they'll continue because we want to iterate on it with you. So that's it. Thank you so much to the team, Marisol, Jen, Billy, Aisha, and other folks who were supporting these conversations. And of course, to the participants. Facilitating is no fun if nobody speaks up. And you guys did. So thanks so much. And Shirley and Randy, appreciate the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
thank
we
you,
have,
everybody. Thank you, feedback.
I'm sorry. We're going to squeeze in one more question, and then we're going to go back to our Cpac business. Selena has her hand up. If it's regards the Brilliant NYC, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I appreciate y'all coming here, but I just wish the time in the breakout room was managed more efficiently, because not everybody was able to speak their mind. So I don't know if you got all the feedback or as much feedback as you can. So the next time we should also allot time to conversation so we can get a little bit more feedback from everyone who was at the table. That was my concern, because I had some ideas too, but I wasn't able to share out. So I'll just talk to you or speak on another time.
Thank you, Celine. I'm sorry about that. So 2 things. William posted the Brilliant NYC mailbox is right there, but that's me right above Ambrosella 7. You can email me and call me directly. And we will I want to come back for sure. Once we have our data analysis, once we have find our blueprint, I definitely want to come back to speak with this group in terms of next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to do an agenda change where our Executive Director, Sadie Kapoor Amor, had brought up the Chancellor's Regulations A210. We're going to shift there before going back to our bylaws. Marie, could you share the screen, please? Thank you, Marie. So we would like for Cpac to consider adopting the Chancellor's Regulations A210, the Citywide and Community Education Council Code of Conduct and Complaint Procedures, Anti-Discrimination and Anti-Harassment Policy. While Sadie is still here, anyone has any questions regarding the Chancellor's Regs 210? I see Dr. Cody has her hands up.
Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you. I just have a concern, and it's related to 210, because I do want us to adopt it, but I want it to apply to everyone equally and fairly. I'll give an example. Randy brought up earlier about working with Cpac. I've sent several emails and concerns to the executive board that hasn't been shared out. It's been blocked from other members. And, you know, because it's a list. I want to make sure presidents' councils are receiving contact information of PTA presidents. PTAs are receiving and have access to parent contact information. Help to ensure all parents and guardians have active NICSA accounts. Keep Cpac's website up to date with the minutes and resourceful information, and make sure the information on there is coherent with our bylaws. Enhancing more streamlined ways for voting members to be informed, helping PTAs.
I'm
and
sorry, Dr. Cody.
councils. May I
I'm gonna-
finish?
No,
No, it's
you're out of
directly
order.
related to the 210.
No, it's not related.
Yes, it
It's
is.
not
Because
related to
like
210.
what you're doing now,
You're out of order.
You're
You're out of
bullying me
order.
right now. And what I'm
You're out of
saying
order.
is my voice that I'm trying to project is being
Dr.
ignored
Cody.
and bullied. And I'm being harassed
Dr.
right
Cody,
now.
you're out of order.
Well, these are the
This is
things
the-
we need to focus on, really. And how do we get help to make sure this applies here to us now?
Dr. Cody, you're out of order. Mr.
I'm not out
Silverman,
of order. You're
yes.
out of order. You cut me off.
Dr. Silverman, I mean,
Oh, no,
District
I-
2,
thank you for
Leonard
making me a
Silverman.
doctor. I'm not. I didn't serve my time in school, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I just want to just address 210 and just there's a lot to talk about. I've only got 2 minutes, so I'm not going to use it all. But I just wanted to say that I'm just concerned about the proposed change, and I would reference an opinion piece that appeared in the New York Post today by a former colleague of mine on the Community Education Council and a current colleague, Maud Marin and Daniela Ergorov, who point out rightly that this change in 210, and I'm looking at it right now, relies on vague language to determine violations of conduct, and I think that's a cause for concern. And I'm concerned when we're giving the DOE a certain level, or recommending that the DOE have a even greater level of control over our community education councils, which I think right now there might be issues, but for the most part they tend to be open and forums where you can have parent discussions. So I'm just concerned. I would ask anyone who is interested to take a look at that that op-ed article. I think it's very informative, and I'm just concerned again about the language that this proposal for 210 uses. I do agree it's very vague, and it just concerns me when we're ceding that level of authority over the DOE in terms of what constitutes a violation.
Okay, so I would like to remind everyone that the regs are up for public comment since last week. So you can take a look at those comments as well. And if you have any questions and concerns, please make your comments on the public comment post. D25, Francis Gonzalez, you have your hands up.
I'm just confused. This is what the chancellor wants to propose. This is coming from them, and they want us to put it in our bylaw. I'm a little confused of what.
Oh, no, this is a proposed or addition to the chancellor's regs 210. It's an addition to the regulations.
Where is it coming from?
From New York City DOE.
Oh, the DOE wants to add this to the regs, and so they want us to approve it. Is that what it is?
No, we're asking if we'll adopt and support adding these regulations regarding anti-discrimination and harassment.
So the DOE wants to put this in. This is not in the chancellor's regs, or we're trying to put it there? I'm just trying to understand.
Correct. This is a new regulation.
Yeah, yes.
And
That's
it was
coming from the
introduced.
DOE that needs to be approved by Cpac to get into the chancellor's regs?
No, it does not need to be approved by Cpac. It needs to be approved by PEP, the Panel Panel for Educational Policy, in support of these adding these new regulations to
So
the aid.
What is it here for?
This is support. This is to add Cpac's public comment as for support for the new regulations for the chancellors of 210.
I'm still confused.
We're
Let me
voting.
try. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Sadie, please.
CPAC, independent of DOE, is saying, hey, we'd like to support this, but regulation was introduced, it's new. It was drafted and created by an equity council that included Cpac members and CEC members, as well as DOE folks. We drafted a regulation. We have introduced it. It's up, posted for public comment. It has to go for 45 days public comment. It will be voted on the December 21st panel for educational policy meeting. And I think because Cpac had a seat at the table and was a part of it, they are bringing it before the Cpac membership and saying, hey, is this something we would like to support? But this is not a formal vote to approve or to disapprove it. That is for the panel for educational policy members to make.
Oh, so this is just to collect like a feedback before they do so.
I think it's a formal sign of support. I did not initiate this, and I'm not advising neither here or there.
Is a formal sign of support, correct? I can, Jimmy or Marie, and I believe Jessica Marco was on it, on the Equity Council working group, and y'all will have any further to add on before we move to a resolution to adopt? Leonard, you have your hands up again. You have.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to monopolize the conversation, but I'm just concerned because, again, we hear that there were Cpac people involved on the committees or whatever, but we never got a report or a discussion about what they actually said or what positions they took. So I think that was one of the problems that some of us had with the way things were done in the past. So I just think it's important to kind of be open and transparent about what positions were taken or what the thoughts were before we all of a sudden are, before we're presented with a vote. I would like to hear certainly from the people who were on that committee or what their logic was or what their positions were.
Thank you, Mr. Silverman.
I cannot raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
This is Jimmy. I can't raise my hand. I don't see the raise feature.
Okay.
When we were sitting on that, we were sitting.
Jimmy, give me 1 second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, once Jimmy is spoken, then it's going to be Miss Celia Green from Brooklyn High School, who was also on that committee as well. So I'm sorry, Jimmy, you'll go first, and then Celia will have the floor after you. Go ahead.
When we were on this committee, it was stakeholders from all over. We had outside people, we had FACE, we had ECC, we had Cpac, and we had students. We were not allowed to discuss it because this was being confidential. And now that it is being up for review, we are allowed to speak about it and talk about it. And this is why it's being brought to the fore. Otherwise, it would have been said. When they ask us not to speak on something, we're not allowed to come out and speak on it. And this is something that's been shared over. We've worked on this for over months of doing this before they finally came up with it. And the reason why they're coming up with it, because it's been on many platforms where parents were rude and disrespectful, calling out or saying things that was, just incompetent, not being respectful for each other. And this is the reason why they were coming up with the change, because it was the protection for all parents, because it's not just sanctioning anyone or calling any one parent. It was talking about how the harassment is, the belittling of different parent groups, all different things that were going on. And going through this and doing this was the purpose of trying to protect everyone, so everyone would feel protected and not misused or abused or bullied or being just victimized. We want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and it's transparent. And this was the purpose of doing this, and it's being brought out to the fore. This is why it was never spoken on or being held against. When they ask us not to, we have to follow when we in that. When they say to speak, we speak. And that's why we're speaking out now. Thank you.
Celia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to say this. Originally, this idea came from a former president for the the citywide council for District 75, who then moved on to another council and so on, and is now out of the system. It was in response to, originally, not this document now, behaviors that were being exhibited at council meetings, which made it quite difficult because there were several members that were being bullied and so on and so forth. Like, people are people, so you're always going to have issues, but not everybody agrees to disagree. So in light of that, there was a movement at one point to get the different citywide councils and the community education councils 1 through 32 to put some sort of code of conduct into their actual bylaws. That's where this developed from. This is not that same document, but I'm just saying that's what was the catalyst for this, because there's been some, when we were in person, you know, I think people were a little more respectful because they also knew that, you know, there are people in the audience that are physically there and watching. I think even more so now that we're virtual and people tend to hide behind that, some of the attacks have been more vicious. I know that I experienced a lot of that on CCHS in the last 2 years while we were in lockdown. So I'm saying all this to say that it does come from somewhere, and it did come from parents. The original ask or request for this was from parents. Like I said, not necessarily the parents were on the group itself, but definitely from parents. And from experiencing a lot of the things that were happening, we were asking for a way to remedy these things. So I'm going to suggest, though, because people have a lot of questions, maybe this can be, this particular portion could be adjourned to another meeting when people can get a chance to have a better discussion or a longer discussion, or at least have a chance to send in any changes they would like to see or comment on it. So perhaps we could postpone this particular portion, and in the essence of time as well, to another meeting, to a January meeting or something.
Thank you, Celia. So there's a motion on the floor to postpone, to make a motion for support of the Chancellor's Regulation A210. Anyone who would like to second that motion to postpone discussions on this topic? So everyone have a, I'm sorry, I can't see hands raised. Who said second?
Bronx High School Federation seconds.
Okay, Lourdes Jabot. So everyone in favor of postponing this discussion for the Chancellor's Regulations of 210, just state aye or raise your hands.
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
for POI point of information, just as a reminder that this will be up for PEP vote on December 21st, to keep that in mind, and in contrast with the motion that is on the floor made by Councilmember Green.
Thank you. So we can't postpone to January 6th because it will be at the PEP meeting on December 21st. Anybody would like to modify that motion or continue the conversation?
Can I modify the motion, Madam Chair, since I made it?
Yes.
So
Ms.
I'm
Green.
modifying it that we have, that we maybe convene a special meeting or a working meeting or something in the month of December, before December 21st, to address Chancellor's Reg D 210.
Bronx High School Federation seconds.
Thank you. I'm going to first lower everybody's hands. Everybody who's in favor of doing a special meeting in the month of December, which means it has to be before December 21st. All in favor, just raise your hand so you could state aye or type it in the chat.
Madam Chair, you have a few raised hands going up.
Yes, and I believe in the chat as well is I seeing agree, and just so the ayes have it. So we will probably send a poll out to decide what date in December that we're going to continue these discussions. So now we're going to move to our Cpac business that we had started off before. There was a motion on the floor that Miss Cecilia from District 26 had there.
Madam Chair, I'm going to stop sharing the
yes.
D210 now.
Yeah, yes, please. So Cecilia, if you're still here, would you like to restate that your motion?
Sure. It's like I like to leave these. You know what? I'm going to let someone else make the motion. If like I after you talked about the parliamentarian not being an elected position, I don't feel as strongly. So I will withdraw my motion. I'm sorry.
Thank you. No problem. And then is that in absence of time as well? Would like somebody will make a motion to postpone our bylaws proposed amendments, right, that we have, and we could do it together with the Chancellor's Regs 210.
I make a motion.
And who's aye?
Well,
Everybody.
my hand was up. I find it interesting that people can just yell out. My hand was up to make that motion.
Madam Chair, that's correct. And I was going to address it, but people did speak out of turn. I believe that was D15 without raising their hand, but that is correct.
Yeah, okay, so right now, will somebody make a motion on the floor? On postpone. Dr. Cody, wait till you're, Dr. Cody, please wait till you're acknowledged.
My hand was up to make the motion. I noticed that other people was able to yell out. That's interesting. All right. I'll wait till I'm acknowledged.
Thank you. District 12. Doris Canella.
I make a motion for whatever you want because this is getting to be very painful to sit through.
Thank you. Anyone anyone else who would like to second that?
My hand is up. I would like to second that. What I wanted to say was that I wanted this to go along
Dr. Cody,
with
yes, Dr. Cody, you second it. Thank you. So all in favor of postponing the bylaws proposed amendments with Chancellor's Regs? All in favor, say aye or raise your hands or type in the chat. Thank you very much. The motion has passed. And so at this time, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Can I have someone second that motion, please?
I seconded, thirded, and fourthed. Thank you so much, guys. Have a happy holidays.
Madam Chair, just for correction,
thank you.
You should ask for the motion and not make the motion yourself, please.
Somebody with a motion to clear. Could you everybody put their hands down so I can see who put it up, who put it down, because all I see is hands. Okay, so now it's left with Cecilia Green, which you have the floor.
No, I had put my hand up to make the motion, actually. That's what
Yes, that's what go ahead. Go.
Oh, you mean I move that we adjourn?
Can we have a second? District 20?
I second it.
Thank you. The time now is, hold on, 12:29. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being patient. I think it was worth it, especially with the Brilliant NYC, to get engagement and comments from our members. You know, it's the holidays now. And Marie, could you stop sharing, please? Thank you. And I just want to, our next Cpac meeting is regular gentlemen is January 13th. Yes, we didn't get to that because I wanted us to celebrate.
Nice.
Cpac did something very accomplished something. You know, PEP unanimously voted in those proposed changes, which will help our PA, PTAs, and President's Council. So I wanted to take time to celebrate, but we're way over. time, and when we at the special meeting will take time to celebrate our, our voices being at the table, and that one step closer in helping our parent voice and building up, building capacity. So happy holidays, everybody. I'm not gonna hold. We already adjourned. So congratulate, happy New Year. But we'll see. We should be seeing each other before the 21st. So
Yes, we will. Our special meeting. Thank you
Yes,
so
yes.
much. Woo!
Happy holidays.
Happy
Bye.
holidays,
Hands is
everyone.
up.
Will you be sending a doodle around?
yes, I will try to send a doodle or some kind
Thank
of
you.
survey. Yes, no problem.
Thanks a lot.
You're
You're the
welcome.
Thank you
best.
for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Have a good one, everyone.
All right, take care, y'all. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Just
holidays.
stop the
everybody.
recording.
We're still live on YouTube.
Until we meet again.
Yes. Happy holidays,
Keep
all.
safe, everyone.